What happens when AI generated art and media gets so good that you cannot tell it apart from human-made art and media? And what happens when there's an abundance of AI creations? I know online there's this huge fear that human artists will become obsolete if that happens, but I actually think the opposite might happen. By the way, this video isn't a deep dive into the ethics of AI art and media. There is a lot to unpack there, but I will address it where it's relevant. What actually inspired me to make this video was a video I made a few weeks ago about why we always rewatch the same shows. I explained that today we have access to essentially an infinite amount of content. Over 1,000 shows released just last year alone. 80% of all songs on streaming services have never been listened to. Wow, that's kind of sad. 20 million videos are uploaded to YouTube every single day. I'm probably screaming into the void right now. There is more content than we can ever consume, so we have to create mental shortcuts or heuristics. And we do this all the time. This restaurant has 4.8 stars. This book won an award. This movie was directed by famous director. I can't think of anyone right now. Specifically with YouTube, your brain may be filtering through the amount of views the video has or how popular the creator is. Your choice isn't based on the title and thumbnail alone. In a world with near perfect AI, where there are possibly billions of AI generated videos flooding this app or websites, I don't know, it depends on where you're watching this video, we'll likely rely on even more mental shortcuts to decide what deserves our attention. And this applies to other media and art forms as well. You know how we have an explicit symbol for music? Imagine an AI symbol. Movie ratings could have that AI symbol. Anything AI generated could eventually be marked in some way. And I believe that human-made versus AI generated could become one of the biggest mental shortcuts in an AI-saturated world. Speaking of an AI-saturated world, artificial intelligence is a technical evolution. And in the case of AI-generated art and media, it allows for mass production. Assuming that you were to use AI to generate your art, music, movies, the YouTube videos that you eat your dinner with, ignoring all of this, that is literally the mass production of art and media. Looking at the Industrial Revolution, machine-driven mass production of consumer goods like furniture or clothing disrupted handcrafted industries. They had to compete with cheaper products that were also being made faster. One of the biggest reasons that people turn to AI for art is because it's cheaper than hiring human artists, and faster. Much, much faster. Now, you and I both know that the handcrafted industry still exists today. In fact, the handicraft industry is worth $1 trillion globally, but many handcrafted products are a luxury. Mass-produced chairs have become the standard for the average person. Following that logic, if AI is mass-producing art and media, then that could become the standard. So while human-made art will probably still be a profitable industry, it just might become a luxury. I'm not going to pretend that output doesn't matter, because it absolutely does. If this video was like this the entire time, you probably still wouldn't be here. Time, effort, and money are poured into movies that still flop because people didn't like the final product. The same is true for art, music, and every other form of media, including YouTube. We don't just like things because the people who made them put effort into it. We ask, is this actually good? I could argue that we value output more than input, but by how much, I honestly do not know. In a world with near perfect AI, we'll probably still value output more. We might just start assigning more value to inputs as well. If we can generate whatever we want, whenever we want, a great output becomes the standard, while the difference in inputs becomes more noticeable. Imagine there's an AI generated movie about cheese and a human made movie about cheese. Assume they have similar stories, similar performances, and practically identical reviews. Quality wise, they're basically on the same level. Ignoring all of this, which one would you choose to watch? I'd argue that because the outputs are so similar, the inputs become a much bigger part of the conversation. And we already do this today. 2 meals can taste almost identical, but if one was made by a world-renowned chef, people will pay more for it. Going back to the cheese movies, stories from the cast and crew, press interviews, the chemistry between the actors, and hearing about the creative decisions that made the film work all become part of what we're willing to pay for, even if none of that is strictly visible on screen. The things that go into making art and media, the human experiences and connections, become an even more important part of how we decide what to consume. The more ways we're able to connect with artists, the more value we tend to assign to their work, because art isn't just about consumption. We also need to connect with other people, which raises a really interesting question. Can AI generated art create the same type of community as human made art when anyone can use AI to generate art and media? One of the premises that I discussed earlier was a world where everyone generates their own content. But if that's the case, we lose discussion around art and media. Discussion is integral to our relationship with art and media because it builds community. In a world where everyone is watching their own personalized movie, no one has time to watch anyone else's. Discussion around media might die. We have amazing speakers and headphones, and despite how broke everyone is, we still go to concerts. We still go to museums, we still go to cinemas, even though we can technically experience these things, kind of, at home on our screens. The people yearn for community. Even if you can generate your own art with a single prompt, I think we will still want to discuss art and media with other people. So what art ends up at the center of these conversations? I think it will be human-made art, both because of the mental shortcuts we talked about earlier and the increased value that we place on people behind the work. Especially if human art becomes rarer and a luxury in this world of near-perfect AI. But all of this depends on a few key assumptions. I know someone's already typing in the comments. So far, I've assumed that it's human-made art versus AI-generated art. But it might be more complicated than that. What if a project is 50% AI-generated and 50% human-made? How do we view it? My prediction is very simple. The more of you that is found in your work, the more meaningful it may become to other people. Your time, your energy, the months or years you spent learning a technique, your vulnerability, maybe even the people you met and the stories that came from creating the work. All of that already contributes to how we value art today. And all of that becomes even more important in a world of near perfect AI. Y'all, I'm losing my voice. Why is this happening? I'm also making a huge assumption that we will even be able to tell when art is AI generated. If AI art and media is indistinguishable from human-made art and media, how will we know? We might not. Now this is one of the issues I have intentionally avoided thus far, but I kind of have to address it now. There's already a lot of research being done by universities, tech companies, and media organizations to find reliable ways of detecting AI-generated content, because if not, we have a much bigger problem than the AI art versus human arts discussion. We have bigger fish to fry. We will quite literally not know what to trust, okay? We won't know what's real or what isn't in news, in politics, in public safety, and even the legal system. So you see how that's a problem, right? That's a really big problem. So let's just assume that we have the technology to detect AI generated content. With the path that we are currently heading down, the creative industry will dramatically change, jobs will be lost, and many new jobs will incorporate AI in some capacity. The commercial value of human-made art and media may decline in some areas, but no, I don't think it will completely disappear. Human stories and self-expression are a huge part of what we connect with, regardless of the medium that we use. AI can work with these same artistic foundations humans have developed over centuries: anatomy, color theory, composition, visual language. But humans carry their own incomplete knowledge and limited understanding of the world into their work. Our experiences, limitations, discoveries, and mistakes shape the things that we create. The idea that sparked this entire video, the script I wrote, filming this right now, and the final product when I'm done editing, I promise you are 4 very, very different videos. So many things change because I'm changing in the time it takes me to make this video. The time spent creating something, anything artistic, anything that involves expressing oneself, changes the creator. And that change becomes embedded in the final product. That matters to us today, but it may matter to us more in a future dominated by AI-generated media. Or I could be completely wrong. Human art declines, we lose the ability to trust anything we see, and we burn the earth down with data centers.